What's going on, guys? Jack here from Just Decoded. I break down body language and non-verbal communication to find out what people were truly saying and thinking. A horrific serial killer that was on the loose down in Alaska has been caught in one of the most bizarre ways you can imagine. Subsequently, he was arrested, and this led to the interrogation, which luckily for us was all on film. It's a pretty long video all in all, so I've pulled out the best moments. We're going to watch his lackluster attempt at defending himself slowly crumble until he ultimately confesses. So we're going to break down the body language, uncover any hidden truths, and I'm going to point out a few things that I think you might have missed. Quick side note, if you want to learn body language to advance your career, maybe you're an ambitious professional or an emerging leader, it's more important than ever to master non-verbal communication to get what you want out of life. So I have a free 30-day email mini course, links in the description, just one quick lesson a day. And with that being said, let's jump right into the video.
It's September 6th, 2019. Surveillance cameras capture 48-year-old Brian Smith and his date, Valerie Casler, arriving at a local shop in Anchorage, Alaska. From the
Nothing much to note so far. He's only at a drive-thru. It's not actually the interrogation yet, but I just wanted to point out the rubbing of the fingers and the hand movements he's doing. This is a pacifying and self-soothing behavior. We do this when we're anxious, nervous, or actually just fidgeting. So he could just be fidgeting, but we're about to learn there is a body in his boot, so maybe it's something else.
Mr. Smith, I'm Detective Lee, the Anchorage Police Department. I just want to show you my badge, my ID, so you know you're talking to. This is Detective Bell, my partner. We have some matters we wanted to clear up with you and talk to you today, so I appreciate you coming up here with these guys and talking to me. Obviously, we're here at the airport. They brought you up here to talk to me, so we have some kind of a formality to get by. I have to read you what's called a Miranda warning.
So as he went to sit down, he actually went to sit in one position before changing his mind and choosing to sit in another way. This shows us that he's definitely overthinking the situation and there's a level of unease there. Now the position he's sat in is leant forward, arms resting on the table and hands clasped. So this shows us readiness. This shows us he's ready to engage in the conversation, and it's also a sign of we're willing to cooperate. Now, is this a deceptive play on his part to give that impression to the officers? Maybe.
Do you know what that is?
Yes.
The detectives catch him off guard. He has no idea what this is about, but assumes it might be related to when his truck was broken into a few months earlier and his documents were stolen.
I don't know when exactly they broke the window, but they. I got a phone call from one of the guys at work that said my window's broken. So as I'm down there looking at this, what the messages start coming through on my phone. Mm-hmm. You know, your transaction at Lowe's for $500 and something dollars has been accepted, and I'm like, what?
So right now he's leant back, he's relaxed, and most importantly, he's very animated with his hands and his arm movements. Typically when people are lying, they actually restrict their movements and they go kind of rigid. He's doing the opposite right now. Why is that? It's because the story he's telling is about when his car got broken into. It doesn't paint him in a bad light. You know, he's the victim in this story. So it's very easy for him to act natural, but as the tides start to turn later, we do see a change to that body language.
Yeah. The little GoPro you said that was taken, what stands out about because I'm not familiar with GoPros. How do they record memory into the camera, or do they record on something else, or how does that work?
Oh no, yeah, it's got a little SD card on.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Like I said, we have some matters we need to clear up, and the thing we need to talk about is recently some property was brought to APD, and I was given that property as a little SD card. And I watched that SD card and I looked at it, and that's what I wanted.
Ever since the GoPro and the SD card were brought up, these animated body movements very quickly stopped, and he's now looking very still.
So what can you tell me about that?
Well, usually everything I record.
When the officer said, "Can you tell me about that?" before answering, he actually turns his whole body towards the door briefly before turning back. A surefire way of working out if someone actually wants to be there or not is where they're directing their ventral line. So your ventral line is essentially a straight line. It goes from the sort of eyebrows down, and it contains all of your sort of vital organs, your most sensitive areas, your neck. And primitively, we want to protect this. So this is a very early sign of him going on the defensive, as he's subconsciously trying to turn his ventral line towards the door and towards the exit. Same thing, I guess.
These stuff from my trips when I go out camping. That's why I got a GoPro. It's got a very high frame rate. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to capture, you know, if you ever look on YouTube, you'll see the guys shooting through like latex or through bottles or something, and you can see the bullet going through.
Shooting a bullet?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Brian often records his outdoor adventures, whether he's hiking, fishing, or camping. Filming is one of his favorite hobbies, and he even owns a drone to capture the scenery from above. But this time, the detectives aren't interested in his videos, and soon, Brian will understand why he was brought to the station.
So like I said, it's about that SD card. I wanted to kind of just see if this will refresh a memory here for you. That there, and that's it right there on top of that.
I've seen those. I've got 1 or 2 of those. You get those at Walmart.
Okay.
Now, what did Brian do when presented with the pictures of his crimes? He pushed it away. So this is something we see all the time, and it's the exact scenario. When criminals are being presented with the photos, they actually just push them away and try and create as much distance as possible.
And now is that one like the one you're missing? Because you said you're missing one out of the GoPro.
No, well, the whole GoPro's gone.
Oh, the whole GoPro's gone.
Yeah.
But was that the type of card that might have been in that GoPro when it was gone?
No.
Okay.
I've got one of these I've been using for my 3D printer.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I've got these green ones. The other one's all black.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and so like I said, this was brought to APD and given to me, and like I said, I viewed the images and the videos on that SD card.
Yeah.
And that's obviously that's how I got to you. That's how I figured out who you are.
I'm just going to reload that real quick. Take a close look at his hand.
The images and the videos on that SD card.
Yeah.
And that's obviously that's how.
A rule of thumb in body language is everything means something. Now, it doesn't mean that everything is deceptive or indications that they're lying, but you really have to time it with what's happening in that moment. So as he said that he's seen it, you see the self-soothing going on, definitely a sign of discomfort going on within him.
That's how I got to you. That's how I figured out who you are.
Okay.
And that's what we need to clear up that matter of what's on that SD card.
Okay, what's on the card?
Right off the bat, detectives don't reveal what they already know. Instead, they show Brian photos of a car that matches his. They also ask about a hotel room he rented for 2 nights. Brian admits he had picked up a woman from the street and taken her there. That's when detectives bring out the photos of the deceased woman, the same one seen on the SD card footage from the hotel room.
I just wanted to show you these pictures, see if they would help you kind of refresh the girl from that night.
Mm-hmm. No, that's not her.
Not her?
Just short hair.
Short hair, okay.
Short hair, no.
Okay, all right.
She looks like a drug addict.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen this woman before?
No.
Have you ever had any contact with her?
Now, non-body language related, but he must have said no about 7 or 8 times in a very short space of time. Typically, if you're genuinely innocent, you're trying to defend yourself and give reason, right? He's essentially just denying with no proof. When he said no the final time, that kind of long drawn out, no, just, not confident at all.
Probably starting about 2 years ago, I've probably gone out and picked up a girl or 2. So I might have seen her before, but not fresh in my mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I told you on there that how I found you is like we saw your truck. Is that?
That's my truck.
That's your truck.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else? And I'm going to step out here a minute, let you take a break, drink some water. Is there anything else about that evening that we have?
Look how his body posture's changed. He's now very upright, rigid, again super still, and his shoulders have actually risen. So in body language we call this turtling, where you're essentially creating a shell for yourself. And it's defensive and a clear sign of tension. And if you could see his eyes, which you can't, but if you could see his eyes, I guarantee that he's making direct eye contact with the officer right now as a form of some sort of intimidation.
No.
At this point, the detectives step out of the room for a few minutes. They need to discuss their strategy, and perhaps observe how he reacts when left alone. When they return, they confront him with the footage from the SD card.
Well, you seemed curious about what was on the. You were asking me to show you what's on the SD card, and I don't have it here to show you exactly what's on there, but I wanted to talk about it. And like I said to you a minute ago, the images led me to you. There was images on there that led me to you, and for multiple reasons. The truck, like I said, I knew that was your truck. You're saying that's your truck in the photographs. Mm-hmm. There's pictures of the Marriott. There's pictures of the Marriott, the hotel room. on the GoPro, or excuse me, on that SD card. And that's how I knew it was that Marriott. It was the Midtown Marriott.
Okay.
And the pictures, I don't know, you probably know about this.
As the officer mentioned about the Marriott Hotel specifically, you saw Brian readjust his whole seating position for no apparent reason. A clear sign of trying to regain some level of comfort in this situation. He also started biting his fingers and rubbing his lips. So again, self-soothing and pacifying behavior. When it comes to self-soothing and pacifying, the higher up in the body that people are doing this, the more tension and the more nerves and discomfort they're feeling. Also, there's lots of nerve endings in the lips. So by rubbing them, it does soothe us and reduce anxiety.
That was a wise thing to do, and like everything else. So yeah, so you'll see the back of my truck. It's cut. You know.
With that, the detectives conclude the interview. They gather their notes, present the charges to Brian, and prepare to take him to jail. But just then, Brian drops what might be the biggest bombshell of the entire interrogation.
Are you guys in a rush to go home?
Are we in a rush?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk some more?
We're not in a rush. We got
all night.
I have 2 days.
I saw your ears do that.
You know what? I mean, that's what we do. We love to talk.
As he's mentally preparing to give the confession, you can see all the intense emotions coming out. As he covered his whole face, this is something we do when we're really feeling high levels of stress. And as you can see by the current frame, he's also covered his mouth. So this is something people often do when they're about to lie or they have been lying. We see this most commonly in children. If you have kids, you would know. I don't know why I'm saying that. But yeah, when they lie and you're kind of calling them out on it, they'll often sort of like cover their mouth like this. And it's something we do as adults as well when we're under intense pressure.
Some time ago, I can't remember when,
Now back to the hands clasped position. It means a couple things based on context, but in general it's a negative body language.
picked up a very drunk girl. My wife was gone. She was away for the weekend. I took her home. And I shot her. And I know you guys are doing the good cop, bad cop. I know I'm gonna burn already, so, and I don't want you to have to waste your time.
We appreciate that.
But yeah, so I shot this girl, and then I went and dumped her out on that little side road going towards Butte. When you turn off the highway.
By the Cluton power plant?
Yeah, around about that area. Yeah. You must have found her.
You may have. How long ago was that about?
Oh my God, 3 years ago.
From denying the murder to suddenly confessing to shooting a woman in an unrelated case, Brian's story takes a disturbing turn. He tells detectives that a few years earlier, he had picked up a woman from the street, offering her a warm meal and a place to sleep for the night. According to Brian, she was already heavily intoxicated. With his wife out of town, he brought her home, where she soon fell asleep on the couch in front of the TV. But then, something about her, he says, set him off.
She was smelling. I knew she was homeless then. You know, she was stinking, and I was getting upset. And I said to her, go take a shower. You know, because now there's smell in the house. You know, Stephanie would smell like there was a homeless person in the house. Mm-hmm. And she wouldn't do it. She kept saying no, no, and I was worried that she's going to vomit now, because then I realized that she really had been drinking a lot. No excuse, but I had also been drinking a hell of a lot. Like I said, when Stephanie goes, that's Brian time, or as you call it, Brad time. I went through to the garage and I got...
Now, for the first time in a while, his animation is picked up, you know, his arm movements, etc. This is an indication that the story he's telling is genuinely coming from his memory. You know, he's trying to process and retrieve that information. Does that mean the story is completely 100% accurate? Probably not, let's be honest. But I do think this event happened and he is reliving those emotions right now.
My little pistol there, I said to her, go shower, and she wouldn't, and I just did that, and I
While she was on the couch?
yeah, I just shot her. Like, there was no. The messed up thing, I can tell you honestly, there was no emotion there. It was just, you're not listening to me, go shower, you're not listening to me. You know, I knew that the longer she stays there, the worse trouble I'm going to get in with Stephanie.
Very fast, twitchy and erratic movements right now, you know, very indicative of someone who is aggressive and feeling angry, you know, he's very, but.
You know, I knew that the longer she stays there, the worse trouble I'm going to get in with Stephanie.
The video actually wraps up not long after this, so I'm going to wrap this one up too. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What did you think of this? What did you think of Brian? What did you think of his body language? Was there anything that I missed? Let me know in the comments. Also, a quick reminder, free 30-day email mini course in the description below if you want to learn how to use body language to advance your career, whether you're looking for a promotion or you're already in a leadership position and you want to lead better. Either way, it can excel your life, so do check it out, completely free. But with that being said, I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next video.